previously on Nerd Talk.
It changed something in movies.
And
like,
it's still good. You
it
can go
really
watch
did.
it right now, and it still
Mhm.
looks amazing, and
Yep.
the story is amazing, obviously, because it was written by an amazing author and stuff like that. So,
And visually, like, talk about that. Like, I will watch a movie just for the visuals.
yeah,
And like the outfits are so cute. I mean the
yeah,
elves are always
costuming.
the elves always look the best, like you said. But
I'm pretty sure
like,
they won an Oscar for costuming too.
yeah, it's so good. Even when I see cosplayers, because even still, I mean, I know you said it came out in '01.
Yeah.
People cosplay that all the time. I mean, they go to
And
the
people are still discovering
conventions
it.
a lot. Yeah,
For
and they
sure.
do go to the conventions a lot, so people cosplay for them. But everything about it
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah, and most of the things were actual locations, or they built the actual thing. So it's not, like the first Jurassic Park, there's not a lot of CGI. It's either it's a combination, or they were actually in New Zealand. They were actually seeing the mountains and the fields and actually having them run across. So that's how it stays authentic and real and looks good, because it's... Hey nerds, welcome back to Nerd Talk with Silver and Ray, where we talk about our favorite fandoms in film, TV, books, comics, all the things. I'm Silver.
And I'm Ray. Hi.
Hi. How are you doing today, Ray?
Good.
Awesome, I'm great too. And so today we're chatting about dun dun dun
Villains. Horrible villains.
Villains. So just any villains, huh?
I mean, they're in everything. You can't have the full story without the bad guy.
Sure. Yes. There is some evil or thing to fight against in every story, for sure.
I feel like sometimes people like the villains more than they like the good guys.
Yeah.
I know Disney villains have a huge following. Disney keeps talking about doing a villains park or a villain something because villains are so important.
Yeah, they're popular.
Of course, Disney villains can't be as bad as some of the others because it is Disney. So
yeah,
there's a limit to how bad Disney villains can be.
Some are pretty bad. Scar's pretty bad.
Yeah, I feel like we see a death with Scar,
yeah,
he commits a full-on murder and we see it, because we even see Mufasa falling to his death and everything. So I mean, and that was, I know for our generation, we were young when that happened, so Mufasa's death hits hard.
Yeah.
So Scar was pretty bad. I know one that sits with me just because we watch the movie so often at home is Lady Tremaine. Not mentioned in the Disney version, but I think it is in the book that she killed the husband, so Mr. Tremaine, or Cinderella's father. And so on top of that, she then takes over the house. Cinderella is forced to become a servant in her own home.
Yeah.
All of her stuff is stripped from her. She's not even living in her room. She's living in the attic or whatever. So that's like prolonged torture in a way, with Lady Tremaine. Ursula's pretty bad too, because she does everything in her power to make sure Ariel doesn't succeed.
Yeah. And what was she getting out of that?
She was trying to take over
the whole world.
She was trying to take over. She wanted to be
under the sea.
Under the sea, yeah.
Okay.
So at the end, when she gets to Triton, and that's what she wanted. So it was like a whole scheme to get Ariel to
get the dad to hand over power,
to give her the power for nothing, because she loses the power in like 2 seconds. But yeah, that was her goal. And I guess, I have to talk bad about Ariel, but she did give up a lot real quick for some guy she just met.
Right, you just met him.
So yeah, Ursula was pretty bad, but Ariel was pretty stupid too. I can't believe I'm saying that. It's so mean. It's so mean.
She was easily manipulated into giving up a lot of stuff. Yes,
because she was a young girl, so she didn't.
And they believe in love at first sight, so
yeah. Yeah, I can't say I was any smarter at 16, because she was only like 16.
Sure.
So. But no, I think like the Disney villains have a limit to what they can do with how bad they are. I feel like like the older ones were a little worse.
Because they're based on those German stories, where they weren't nice and they niceified them.
Yes. Hades, he was pretty bad. And which one's that one? The Quasimodo. I forget his name. The villain in that one. But,
he's horrible. He kills the mother or whatever, and then about to kill him, and only did him because he didn't want to go to hell. But he's super evil.
Yeah.
So you're going to hell. If there's a hell to go to, you're going.
Yeah. Like, ugh. Yeah, he's pretty bad. I actually love that movie, but I hate watching it because of him.
Yeah, he dirty. He's like a dirty old
Yeah,
man.
like you get that creep.
Yeah,
The
he's
creep
super
factor from
creepy.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like him. But I mean, of course, in comic books, there's so many villains. I feel like maybe Green Goblin's a little more tame than some. I mean, he's a villain like all others.
Sure.
And he reminds me of Joker, which reminds me of like my main villain thing that always sits with me. I think I was telling you about it. Like Lex Luthor and Joker, I feel like part of what they enjoy, other than being in control and with Lex more so than Joker, is that they love just the fight between themselves and their superheroes. So
sure.
between Batman and Superman. In of all continuums, Lego Batman, which is a great movie. It's Lego, so you go into it thinking this isn't going to be great. I love Lego Batman.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. I didn't see it because I don't really like Batman, but I did see the other Lego movie.
Phoenix and I watched Lego Batman every single day one summer.
So you know it.
We literally laid and cuddled in the sofa, Dixie on top of us, and just watched this movie every single day. Just me and Phoenix, because Alex was littler, so she didn't separate from her dad.
Yeah.
So it was me and Phoenix and Dixie watching Lego Batman for a whole summer. So yeah, I know it well. But Joker at the end, he doesn't want anything bad to happen to Batman, and he kind of helps out or whatever, and they all kind of. I mean, it's everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
It is still a Lego movie, so it still has to have a happy ending, of course.
Sure.
But that statement that he makes is true. But then you have that version of Joker, and then you have a complete opposite version of Joker in the Injustice universe, which is like a video game, but it's also a comic book.
Okay.
I've played the arcade version of it a few times when it was at like Gators, but I've never really played the game religiously.
Yeah, I don't like fighting games, but
yeah, but the comic was rough. Joker he uses like Scarecrow's poison to poison Superman, which usually he doesn't get immune to that stuff, but he found a way to get it to affect him, and Superman thought he was seeing Doomsday, when in reality he was seeing Lois. So he kills Lois.
Oh no.
It's so like, ugh. And then of course Superman goes crazy, and then Batman's trying to stop him, and of course the Injustice universe is very dark already. It's not like little kid.
I mean, it's called Injustice.
It's called Injustice, yeah. And it is a darker series. I haven't read all of it. I've read a lot of it, but that was tough to read because I'm like, Superman or Clark and Lois, or Superman and Lois, whatever, like that was my first couple. That was like my first introduction to like romance and love, because that was one of the first things I read as a kid. So I've never seen an animation of it, thank goodness, but just reading that comic book, and I think Jimmy gets sucked in there too, and he kills Jimmy as well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just like, oh damn it, Joker, like you went
really
too far.
Evil.
You went real evil. Like I feel like that's one of the most like evil ones that I can think of, like in like a comic book setting. Because I mean, it's not like Disney, of course, but comic books also have a limit in a way too, because so many children read
right
it.
They think kids are gonna read them.
Yeah,
so
but Injustice not being themed for children really made it.
I'm sure they have ratings on them too.
Oh yeah.
Parents don't pay attention.
Yeah, of course. No, I actually don't think I own the Injustice one. I didn't want it. I have Doomsday because I love Doomsday. It's my favorite. I have there's a 5-part series one that I have that I'm missing 1 and 2, but I don't have that one. I would never want that one. I don't ever want to read it again. That one, Joker he went too far in my opinion. And Lex Luthor, I think, winds up helping out in that or something, like, because even he knows Joker went too far. And it's like Lex is another one that's crazy and goes too far sometimes. But in Lois and Clark, Lex says it to Clark as well. What are you without me? Like we need each other, when he comes back for like that brief moment in like the later series or the later episodes, and he says that to him, and it's kind of true. Like they need each other, so they they can't go so far as the Joker
Sure.
did in Injustice.
Well, it makes me think of Megamind, where he's like,
I
"I
love
won,"
Megamind.
and then he's like sad because he has nobody to fight anymore.
Mhm. That's a brilliant movie. They don't that movie didn't get enough credit.
It's so
I
good.
love it.
It unfortunately came out the same time as Despicable Me, and they both had minions, and
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, that's the same thing," but I'm like, no, Despicable Me's good,
Mhm.
but Megamind was like amazing
I
for
love
sure,
it.
and then all the music was amazing in it. I'm like, they spent some buku money on the music for
Yeah.
this. But yeah, that reminds me of that, and then when you're talking about Cinderella, it reminded me of a little princess.
Mhm.
So she gets banished to the attic and becomes a servant. And so, that lady was pretty evil too.
Yeah.
Where she's like, this child doesn't have a father. When the father shows back up, like
Yeah.
you're that
You know,
petty
yeah.
that you don't want to reunite her with her father, and you'll get your money that you were like, I'm gonna lose all my money now. Like
Yeah.
just because you're bitter or
She
whatever.
probably assumed he had no more money. Didn't even think
Right.
that he was still well
No,
off. He
she was
just
just petty
yeah.
and hated her so much. She was like, I'm not gonna let you get reunited with your father. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I always think like, what's the motivation of why you became this way or whatever. When I think about villains, I'm like, you weren't born this way.
Mhm.
Unless you're a sociopath, psychopath from birth, you're not born this way. Something happened to you, and not to say that condones anything, but something had to happen to you for you to be able to think this was okay now.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I don't like that new media is doing, where they're giving like villains like this redemption arc,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like giving us backstory so that we have like sympathies for the
Yeah.
villains. Can't we just have bad guys that like to be
There are
bad?
some bad guys who are just bad and
Yeah.
then like it, and they nothing bad happened to them. They grew
Hmm.
up perfectly, and they're just like, I'm evil though.
I like to be bad. Yeah, I have seen nothing wrong with that, especially if it's like in a story where you need like the good to balance off the bad and so forth.
Yeah.
I don't mind a backstory of a villain. I don't mind learning what makes them bad. Like when in Maleficent, when we learn everything that she went through or whatever, and it's like that's cool. Like now we know how she got there,
Mm-hmm.
but don't change her to be good, which I kind of feel like they did in that movie.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm like, keep her bad. Like that's what she is. She's a villain.
Mm-hmm.
I think isn't her name like the Mistress of Evil or something? Like
Yeah.
she's bad.
Yeah, and even so, like, even if you had a horrible stuff happen to you, lots of people have horrible things happen to them and they
Hmm.
don't become evil.
Yeah.
Like, really, it teaches them to do the opposite. And I did a lot of that from like TV and stuff where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to be like that. Like, if bad things happen to me, it made me do the opposite to say, oh, I don't want to put that on somebody else now that it's
Hmm.
happened to me and I know what it feels like. But some people, whatever happens to them and then they become that too. And
Hmm.
I'm like, no, I'm gonna go the opposite way, the good way, and a lot of people do that. So it's not an excuse, but it's
Hmm.
just, add some depth to the character sometimes to say, well, this is how they grew up, or this is what happened to them that kind of made them this way, or this is their motivation. Like,
Hmm.
we want to talk about somebody who's not really evil, but I think's evil,
Yeah.
is Dumbledore, and yes, he had a tragic backstory of his sister got killed, but that was kind of his fault. And his dad like killed some muggles because they were making fun of the sister or whatever.
Mm.
So his dad was in jail or whatever, or got killed, and then he ended up maybe killing his sister. But his motivation was he thought he knew best and that he should control the world, and everybody should look to him.
Yeah.
Why? Maybe you were a prodigy or whatever, but everybody has their own mind, and then you just make decisions based on only what you think is right, and it's not always right. And if you don't have other people's opinion, you won't know when you're going askew. Absolute power corrupts.
And I mean, think about that in history. Like Hitler was like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's if you want to say one of the top villains of history.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to be, if not number one, definitely up there.
Yeah, he's up there.
Cause and that's exactly what he wanted, was full control. Nobody was stopping him.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was like, oh, okay, let's just do what he's doing. Like he's literally putting people in torture chambers.
Yeah, and then the group mentality sets
Yeah.
in where, oh, everybody's doing it, so it must be
Mhm.
right. Like, no.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like, I think thankfully in Harry Potter it didn't go that way, but he definitely pulls the strings. And I
Yeah.
say it all the time, like I think we were talking about it when we were reading the first book, like when he gives Harry to those horrible
The
aunt and
Dursleys,
uncle,
yes.
instead of giving him to Sirius, that would have been much better. Heck, leave him with Hagrid would have been better.
Yeah.
Than leaving him with
anybody else.
with them.
Besides the Malfoys.
And like to build Harry's character to be more subjectable to his own control later, like he put that child through 11 years of, I think it was more than 11, right? At least 11.
Yeah, well, he had to keep going back to them every summer, but he was with them full time for 10 years.
Yeah, like that's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, that's villain behavior.
Yeah.
You know, just for the betterment
just so
of your
you can be
own
like,
propaganda.
I'm the savior.
Yeah.
I'm your grandfatherly savior. When you come to this world, I'm here to help you now, and you should listen to everything I say because I saved you from those horrible people who I put you with.
He built himself up to become like a hero.
Yeah.
In Harry's eyes because he caused it to begin with.
Yeah.
Like that story of the kid in the 90s that was all over, where I think he saved like some squirrels or some birds or something and he was like in the newspaper, local hero. Then it turns out he had put them in the peril to begin with. So he saved them from the peril he put them in.
Right.
So, and it's like the same concept with this, like, oh, look at you saving Harry from the peril you put him in. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you when you say he's a villain.
He's a villain.
And I know if you're talking about like famous villains, Darth Vader has to be mentioned because he's another like pop icon when it comes to villains.
Yeah.
But it starts with Anakin, really. And you know, Anakin was manipulated 100% by the Emperor. He was like whispering in his ear, and I don't even feel like Anakin would have turned to the dark side if it wasn't so much for Emperor Palpatine pushing him to do so. And of course, the big problem that he was trying to prevent, Anakin caused it in the long run. Had he just stayed good, the problem he was trying to prevent would never have happened. Plus, he killed a bunch of younglings. Like once you kill children, I mean, that becomes, you know, and then there's the debate. I know. Like some people would say, well, that was already Vader because he had already turned to the dark side. So was he really? Because like there's like the scene when they zoom in and his eyes turn red because now he's bad because he's turned to the dark side and whatnot. So it wasn't really Anakin; it was already Vader. So forth, whatever. Whether it was Anakin or Vader or Anakin are the same person. Tom Riddle and Voldemort, whatever.
Yeah.
The point is, Darth Vader killed children as Anakin. And then, of course, he goes on to kill a whole full planets and everything as he gets worse as Darth Vader. But a lot of that was because Palpatine was pulling the strings. So, I mean, I think maybe Palpatine was worse of a villain than Vader, who was manipulated to do that stuff. And I mean, maybe I'm just too much of a Darth Vader fan, and I see loopholes in it. I'm like, I don't know, maybe he did all of this so that the rebellion could win. I don't know. That's how I see things, and I know that that's like going way off on a fan theory, but you know, it stands to reason in canon that he only got as bad as he was because Palpatine pushed him there to be bad. I don't think that's the case with Tom Riddle though. Like he was just bad. Right?
Yeah, he was evil because he was born of a love potion.
Yeah.
So he didn't have any love in his life or in his heart. So, you know, once you don't have any love, what else can you be but evil?
Yeah.
And then, you know, he feared death and he wanted ultimate power. So he was seeking power. He didn't want to die. So he was doing the darkest magic and rituals so he could stay alive regardless of what happened. But yeah, what makes him evil is, like you said about killing kids, he went there to kill Harry because there was a prophecy that said, hey, either you are gonna die or Harry's gonna die. And he's like, well, better kill him now while he's a baby. Except, you know, it backfired and he didn't get killed. But yeah, he didn't have any strings pulled. I've read some fan fiction where, you know, they kind of have like Harry and Voldemort get together sort of thing. And it turns out like Dumbledore is kind of pulling the strings for Voldemort too, which you never know. Could be because he's older than both of them. He's older than Voldemort, you know, because he went to school in the 1800s, 1881. He started school, I think. Dumbledore did, and Tom Riddle wasn't born till like 1920, 30 or something. So he was already a teacher, obviously, because they have flashbacks of that when Tom Riddle shows up. But he does introduce him to magic. He does go pick him up from the orphanage to say, you're a wizard and come learn magic with us. But, you know, I guess he would do that for any wizard. It wasn't necessarily to say, I'm going to train you to be whatever. It was Voldemort's all plan the whole time to say, I want to rule everything, and I don't want to ever die, so I'm gonna work on that.
I mean, I guess that in that sense, you can say that the same was destined for Anakin, because he also technically was not born of love. It was more an immaculate conception. He was just there. He has no father. I think it was the Emperor who did it through medical and blah blah blah. Like I think it was kind of
blah blah blah.
It was kind of predestined, but the same concept goes. You know, he had a good mom. Where I don't think Tom Riddle, because didn't she, once the dad left her or whatever, didn't she stop giving a crap or something?
She died after childbirth, so
so
she lived long enough to name him after the father, because she loved him, but she used a love potion on the father, and the father never loved her. So he was good looking and she was homely, because she was inbred.
Lord, oh god, the inbred.
So she was inbred, and then she love potioned a guy to get pregnant and to be with her, and the good looking rich guy, and then she stopped giving him the love potion, and he was like, what is happening? No. I don't care if you're pregnant, whatever, no. So he left, and then she was heartbroken and had the baby. He died after giving birth.
Which also happens in Star Wars. Not with Anakin's mother, but when Queen Amidala, Anakin's wife, she's pregnant with the twins, Luke and Leia. She dies of a broken heart. Well, because Anakin killed the younglings and force choked her a little, and she was like at the end of the pregnancy. So they make it look when she's dead that she was still pregnant. They make the world think that the twins died with her, so that people don't know that they were alive
or out there somewhere.
Yeah, that was Yoda's manipulation. Which, don't get me started on Yoda, because talk about the same pulling strings like Dumbledore. Yeah. He's definitely not as bad, but he has his little hand in the pot, and he's the one who separates Luke and Leia. He sends Luke to be a nothing in the desert farmer. He sends Leia to be a princess. Like, he had his reasons for things,
Yeah.
And the same kind of heroes thing, because then later on, who's the one that teaches him the same situation with Yoda and Dumbledore? Same thing. Okay, you put him in that trash, and then you took him out of it. Now he thinks you're almighty.
Yeah.
The
greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, and Yoda does teach him and everything for the most part. But again, if Yoda had not put him in that situation, maybe he would have been better already. Right.
Well, and then Dumbledore knew the prophecy also. He knew the whole prophecy. So he tells Snape, and Snape's like, you've been raising him like a pig for slaughter. So he's been expecting him to get killed anyway, so he can show up later and be the leader of light. Like, I saved everybody. Harry had to die, like the whole time he's thinking, well, Harry has to die, so he don't need to learn any magic for real. Like, we don't need to train him up or anything, just let him be bad at school and hang out with Ron and play chess and and not do anything, so that it's easier for him to get killed later, because he has to die, because one of them has to die. And so once Harry dies, he's like, I can kill Voldemort. But then Dumbledore ends up dying before all that. So that's the other thing too. You don't know when you're gonna die, wizard or not. Yeah. So you can't just keep it all on yourself to say, oh, this is what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen. So prepare for every eventuality. But because he was like, I'm the greatest and I'll live forever, don't worry about it. I'm the only one who can know anything. Like, no.
Yeah, it's like I think a good trope for villains is manipulation and like not just strength. Like Doomsday in Superman, he's a strong villain. He actually gives Superman a run for his money and strength, but he's also like a brute more so. Like, he's not a manipulator, he's just coming to pound you.
Sure, he doesn't have any intelligence behind it
but then you look at like Magneto, who's his whole thing is manipulation. So a big trope within villainy is manipulation. Mother Gothel, when she manipulates Rapunzel to believe that she can't go outside. Mom, why can't I go outside? And like that whole thing, like, that's just manipulation.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of another totally off comic books and stuff like that in fantasy. The book and movie Color Purple. Would you say his name is just Mr. Albert?
Mr. She just calls him Mr.
Yeah. And I mean, isn't that's pure manipulation between her stepdad, who she doesn't even know is her stepdad, manipulating her whole life, selling her off.
Well, women, they didn't have any power back then, so and whatever the guy said went.
When I think of like movie villains like that, like, I don't think people think of those two, but
Mm-hmm.
again, I know I just mentioned Alex Haley, the book and the movie Queen and stuff a little while ago. Danny Glover's in that too. I believe that's his name.
Yeah.
And
Danny.
he's a good guy in that one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even look at him. He's so good. He's the flip opposite of what he is.
Sure.
Same kind of concepts where he's like a, black man coming off of slavery, poverty, the whole same story, but
Mm-hmm.
he's good in Queen
Yeah.
and horrible in The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And because I saw The Color Purple first, I don't care what else he's ever in, he's a villain forever.
Sure.
Because like
he did a good job of not being
Yeah.
typecast and getting a lot of that off of him. Because a lot of people hated on that and hated that they were showing black guys in such a bad light. But if that's what happened back then, that's what happened back then.
I know.
The book and the story was written by a black lady, and she probably has stories from her own family and stuff where people, guys and whatever, were like that towards women because that was society back then. They had control. You couldn't, really own land or vote or whatever, back in those days, right? Like you were saying, it was the 1920s and 1930s, or right off slavery, so people they were trying to develop their own, world outside of that. So yeah, they had land and they had to really work the land and make sure things were successful, because they didn't have another choice, but they also treated their women badly.
Horrible. Yeah.
And yeah, they, like I said, people having like kind of reasons or whatever, or a backstory that says, oh, this is why I am the way I am. A lot of those black guys were also abused or whatever by their dads and stuff, so it was just a cycle of repeating and repeating. And hopefully majority of us have gotten out of that, but it happened for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
And
so
it's definitely a form of villainy, even if it isn't, if you don't think about it and you wouldn't put the word villain to that is definitely a form of villainy.
Absolutely. He's a villain. He beat on her, had sex with her when she didn't want it, and made her do everything. and she couldn't even say a word against him, and if she didn't want to get beaten. She was like what, 13 or 14 when they got married. So also she's a child still, so she's thinking, oh, I gotta listen to him because he's kind of like my new father or whatever too. So it's all kind of messed up stuff going on back then. And that's another reason they could get away with it so much too, is because they married him off so young that it was just like passing one father to the other, and you just do what I say, or your life's in danger if you don't.
Yeah, a book I read last year, I think it's been about a year now that I read it. It was a series. It was 4 books. T.J. Klune wrote it. It was called the Green Creek series. It's about like werewolves. I don't actually read a lot of werewolves and vampire books anymore, just because when I was younger, that was like the big thing. I loved it so much, and I'm kind of burnt out on it.
Yeah.
But I heard about that one, and everyone was giving it so many great reviews. I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this series. The main villain in that one, like, it's been a year and it still sits with me how much I hate this fictional man. It doesn't exist. He's so, I think his name is Richard in the book, Richard Collins or something, and he is so horrible, like from pedophilia to just wanting to take over to everything. Like, he checks all the horrible boxes of a bad villain, messes up, like in I know you said Jenny in Forrest Gump, that she's messed up because of like the stuff that happened to her when she was little, and the same thing happens to one of the main characters in the book. Like, he stays messed up throughout his like journey, his journey and everything, because of how bad, of all the bad things Richard did to him when he kidnapped him as a child. And it just sits with me, like that kind of villain like gets me angry, because when it can happen in real life is the stuff that I don't like. Like, I know, like the Joker thing, I mentioned how he poisoned Superman, like that's all still fantasy.
Yeah,
that's not something that is gonna probably ever happen in a real world, but like when I was reading the Wolf Song Green Creek series, like everything that happens in that book with the villains can happen in real life. Yeah. And it just sits with me. It's literally, I still think about it. Like, if I'm thinking of like villains that I hate, or if I'm thinking of that project I said where I'm trying to see if I can write a novella, or just trying to think of like how do you like finish an arc of the villain from the beginning to end, he always comes to mind, because I'm like, God, what a horrible person. He wasn't even real. It's for a fictional book, but oh God, I hate him. And I almost don't want to write a villain that bad because I hate people like that.
Sure.
In real life, what's that other one? Christopher Watts. Have you ever heard of Christopher Watts? He and Shanann. He's just
From what?
they're just real life people. They're not even from like a story or anything.
Okay.
They just, I think they lived in Utah. I don't know. They lived in one of those middle America states.
Mm-hmm.
And typical family. You know, mom, dad, 2 kids. She was pregnant with the third. And he just didn't want to be in that marriage anymore. He found someone else. He was cheating on her. Leave. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away. Get your bag and leave. That's all you had to do. No. Couldn't just do that. He was horrible. Shanann was out on a business trip. She does like, I forget which one it is. It's like one of like, it's not Amway, but I think it's the makeup one, Mary Kay maybe.
Yeah, Mary Kay.
And she was very successful with it. And she was on a conference and she kept moving up, triple diamond. Like she was great at her job. And it gives me chills just to think of that. Triple Diamond is such a success, and she was so proud she had just come back from a conference for it. She was pregnant with her son and her best friend, which makes me sad too, because like I think of us. And she drops her back off at the house. She watches her best friend walk in the house, and he ambushes them, kills the 2 girls and the pregnant wife. Somewhere in this horrible thing that he does, she gives birth to the baby somehow, because when they found the bodies, the baby was not inside, it was outside of her. So horrible human being.
Yeah.
And he got hit for 4 counts of murder, not 3, because of the baby being born. Good for him. I hope he never leaves jail. Horrible human being. Like
4 counts, she wouldn't.
A real life villain, if ever there was one, Christopher Watts. All he had to do was leave. They had a beautiful house.
There's so many people like that. Even me and my mom jokingly say, like, listen, if you want to do something, if you want to get rid of yourself, just by yourself. Don't take me. I don't need I don't need to be part of it. You know what I mean?
Just walk away.
Like, yeah, and people do that. It happens like every other day. There's a story of the whole family being gone because somebody was like, oh, I gotta go, or I want to go, or whatever. And
Just go.
yeah, but that reminds me of one of those Netflix documentaries with the Mormon people. They're always doing crazy stuff for religion. No offense to Mormon people who believe in stuff and are not evil, but yeah, she like was starving her kids because she's like, they have demons in them or whatever, and she took them from the dad, and then dad was like, oh, they're with their mom, they'll be okay. And like years went by where they were starving, and because she was trying to get rid of the demon or
Ruby.
whatever.
Yeah, Ruby.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean?
Had that little boy not gotten out,
They would be dead.
like I still don't remember how he got out. But yeah, that was also in Utah. I know that one for
That's
sure.
Mormon states.
Yeah, that was definitely Ruby. I forget her full name, but
Yeah, I saw that documentary and I was like, why? Like, what makes you believe something so much that you hurt people you love,
But I don't believe for 1 minute that the dad didn't know what was happening.
You don't
maybe
think so?
Maybe he didn't realize how
He
bad
turned
it
the
had
other
gotten.
eye because he never went to go look for them. Or
How you gonna?
because she said, I need time away and not for you not to see us, or otherwise you'll never see us again. You're already not seeing them again.
And she's using Mormon religion, which is very against being gay, as her little scapegoat.
Yeah.
But her and the other lady were
They
hooking
were.
up. They were totally
They
hooking
were.
up. So you're gonna come and tell me
And
that
both of them were giving each other weird ideas about the kids and stuff too. Like, wow, really?
You're gonna come and tell me that you, who is now according to your own religion, is not self-righteous. You're sinning. But these innocent
and your
babies,
innocent babies have demons in them, and that's what you've been telling yourself, so you can do horrible things to them.
And she would cut them and put cayenne pepper on the cuts and then wrap the cut. When they found him, he still had like cayenne pepper and stuff on him. He was so messed up.
Yeah, I mean, that's evil, and people have used religion throughout history to do horrific things, and that's just their excuse. But yeah, she wasn't right, and nothing was right about that. So let's go back to fictional villains.
I know, like fictional ones, at least, like I said, at least they come from a world of fantasy.
Let's talk about Umbridge. Everybody hates her more than Voldemort because she was racist and she was evil, and she made them use blood quills, which was abuse, and she had a blind eye to Voldemort coming back and supported the Ministry in that dumb year they spent not believing Voldemort was back. Like, this is the boy who lived.
You're
He
wasting
knows
time.
that Voldemort's back.
Yes.
You're like, no, he's not. He can't be back because you're scared or something. And then you unleash Umbridge on them to do stupid stuff the whole year. Like, oh, wait, everybody hates her so much.
I know. I'm surprised that they built a ride based around her because of how much they hate her. But actually, I think the hate made it more popular.
Right.
But
well, because she gets sent to jail.
yeah. But
On
no,
the
she's
ride.
so, yeah, some justice because she's so bad.
Well, everybody who reacts to it, the movie she's in, they're like, oh, she dies, right? Because she gets sent off with the centaurs in the woods. And you're like, yeah, they probably kill her. But no, they don't.
No.
Because centaurs are pretty gentle, I think.
Yeah.
You know, they're just stargazers. They're like, oh, what Venus says this. So,
She
yes,
didn't deserve that.
they
She
were
deserved
like,
worse.
they were mad because their territory was getting restricted, but they're not, generally, they're not killers. They're pretty peaceful. So, they
She's
didn't
bad.
kill her, but everybody wishes she'd.
Same actress, and she's the one in Fingersmith.
Yes.
In the movie for Fingersmith.
Mm-hmm.
So she plays bad really good. And then
she turns out to be kind of good in that.
Kind of. And then like when she's in The Crown, because she plays Queen Elizabeth in The Crown, they waited for like that time in Queen Elizabeth's life around the time when when everybody didn't like the Queen as much.
Yeah.
That's when they casted her to play her. I'm like, you casted all these other actresses that everybody's gonna like, and then for the brief time that we didn't love Queen Elizabeth,
Yeah.
you put her in there. Like, y'all knew what you did with that. Because and she's just now she's known as I feel bad that she's known as Umbridge. She's in that Maleficent movie too. You know, most people don't know that she's one of the fairies.
I only saw it once, I think.
She's one of the fairies in that.
I vaguely recall seeing her face in that. But yeah, there's lots of villains besides Umbridge. The Minister's a villain by stupidity. And talk about governments. We talk about Big Brother being the villain. You know, a stupefying of America is villainy. You know, in my mind, you know, even though it includes lots of people involved in there and just probably rich people who want to just be in control of everything.
Shadow government.
Like, I've been watching shorts and stuff, and they're talking about one girl, you know, and that girl probably makes a buku ton of money on YouTube because she has so many likes and comments on her videos. But she was like, we keep trying to buy a house and it keeps getting outbid. And like everybody in the comments, like, yeah, it's like rental companies or like, you know, billionaire people are just buying everything so nobody can have anything. Like nobody can individually own anything. You have to rent. And, you know, sooner or later, that's just going to be nobody can own anything.
CEOs are definitely villains.
Yeah, because they have money readily and available, like some single family people, you know, home people. They don't have enough money to outbid. They'll outbid anybody and then rent it out for an arm and a leg. That's why rent's so high now, you know, so.
Zillow went in. I don't know if it was just Zillow, but companies like Zillow, including Zillow, went in and bought so many houses. Yeah. Like, millions and millions of houses across the whole United States just for that purpose so that they could rent them out instead. And then it makes it impossible for the normal person who wants to own a house to own one. How many people want to buy your house?
So many people. They call me every day. They send me letters.
Yeah. And
there's a bunch of houses in my neighborhood for sale. And I'm like, there's so many houses for sale. Why is the one I'm living in you want? I'm like, funny. Bro, are you have any other properties? No. And if I did, I wouldn't sell them to you. Who are you? You're just calling me on the phone.
That's funny. Yeah, no, for sure, they're definitely villains.
Yeah, they just go around buying up everything so that then they can charge an arm and a leg and nobody can afford to live anywhere, you know, so it's unfortunate.
Did you hear like what happened in the Meyer, I think it was a year ago, but I think the story just broke or something, Meyer supermarket. I think those are like, I know they're not in Florida. Obviously we're a public state, but this little 16-year-old kid with autism worked for them. And he was like, he walked to work every day. He was like a good worker, but he was eating fruit cups out of the waste bin, like at the end of the night when they would throw away what they couldn't sell.
Sure.
And he was eating those fruit cups out of there because those are sealed. So when you pull it out.
Right. And they throw them away right when they're expiring, but they're not really expired.
Yeah. And so he was eating them. And the manager waited for him to rack up $110 worth so that it would be like a misdemeanor or whatever.
Felony or whatever.
An actual felony. And then they arrest this poor kid. Never once did they tell him it wasn't allowed. Never once did they say don't do that. nothing to stop him from doing this.
Just
And
wait till we can get you.
and I think he must have assumed, oh well, it's trash, they don't want it. But no, it was that bad. And the CEO didn't make a statement saying, oh, this isn't our core value. Like, they stood by it. They stood by the manager who ruined this little kid's life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for what? He was taken away in
stores
handcuffs.
and restaurants, they're bad like that. They're like, we gotta throw this away. Well, you know how many people need food?
And you're talking about $110. You got cops involved, lawyers involved for this. For what? To ruin his life? Like, it's just so ridiculous. I hate it. Like,
yes, villainy. The world's rife with it, unfortunately, and that's why there's so many fictional versions of it.
I know. But then, like, the Ruby Frankies and the Christopher Watts, like, being real ones, are always worse. So it's like,
it's always worse, especially involving kids or just people who don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
You know, they're just innocent. But we're coming up in time here. We didn't talk about all the villains we had to talk about.
So many. There's too many.
We could probably do another episode.
I know.
But yeah, there's all the Buffy ones. There's ones from Lord of the Rings. There's comic book ones. There's, you know, just main ones like Dracula or something, Hannibal, you know, so.
Yeah, he was another manipulator.
So there's lots of villains. As we said, they're in every story pretty much, so. Well, I didn't even think about video game ones. There's so many, I'm sure. The Institute, that's the name of the thing I was thinking about for Fallout in the Fallout episode. Like, the Institute kind of underground, they come up with like synths, so synthetic people, you can't tell that they aren't people, and then they replace people. They replace real people with synthetic people so they can start controlling stuff. And so people run into themselves and they're like,
wait a minute.
And then you come upon two people who look the same, and one's like, he's trying to kill me. He's like, no, he's a synth. He's trying to get rid of me and to replace me. So you have to decide which one's real, which one's fake. And the only way you can tell is after they're dead. They have a synth component.
Horrible.
So yeah, there's some villains in the game, and you can take their side. You can become part of them, take their side, and just continue their agenda over the Commonwealth. When I'm like, I could never do that. I'm never gonna pick your side.
Wow.
But yeah, so there's lots of villains. But moving on, what are you nerding out about right now?
Something a lot more sweet and a lot more happy than the story of villains. So, as you know, I made a Labubu costume about a few months ago now. There's a Labubu rave coming up, and I'm remaking the eyes. Okay, I have mine in his little Halloween. He matches the pumpkins here. No, so I'm remaking the eyes per Amy's suggestion. I'm gonna go buy it. I didn't want to do it that way because I like how my eyes were, but they're too reflective. So I'm gonna redo the eyes, and I'm gonna redo the ears because some lady on a Facebook post said that the ears look bad, and they do. I made them in like 5 minutes. So I'm remaking the ears and the eyes for the rave, and then I'm gonna go dance like a Labubu.
Okay.
In all my old age, and probably be comatose the next day, tired. But
do what you like.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing. I'm kind of nerding out right now, just getting my Labubu costume like 3.0 done at this point because it's gonna be the third
upgrade.
version. You gotta be like Star Wars, where he went into it and he keeps updating them, and it's never gonna be perfect.
Sure.
What are you nerding out about?
Well, speaking of constant improvement, this morning I was running outside, as I do these days 4 times a week. And I hit a new record for the mile, which was 12 minutes and 3 seconds. But my watch decided not to count it as a personal record, so I've been pinging them a couple times to be like, why is your watch not saying that I've hit a record? I don't just do these records for myself, I do them for the glory. And they're motivating. Like, I literally went out today to get a record, and then I hit the record and you won't record it, you know. So it was super annoying, but I am excited that I was able to hit a mile in 12 minutes. Because usually I'm at like 15 minutes, so that's cut off like 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which is very good. increase. And plus, for my half marathon, if I want to be able to make it in the time limit, I need to be at least doing 15-minute miles. And usually I get tired by the second mile, and then I'm at like 16, 17, 18-minute miles. So I gotta get to lower, faster miles in the beginning, and then we can ramp up to 15-minute miles with walking and running.
How many miles is half marathon?
13. 13.1. Yeah, so Friday I had to go 6 miles because we're ramping up till the marathon, till like a week before. Then you take a rest, and then you start downgrading back again. So you go up and then downgrade back in the training. So we're making our way up to 13 miles. But last Friday I went 5, and I was like, I'm gonna keel over. So it's building endurance, building stamina, but also building speed. So that was a speed record to say I finished a mile in 12 minutes.
Awesome,
which I never thought I would do, because I was doing like 16-minute miles or like 18-minute miles at the beginning of the year when I started. So to be down to 12 minutes is pretty good. I'll be really excited if I can make it to like 8 minutes, because then I would probably do like 8 miles every time I go, and it wouldn't take a whole lot of time. Like it would be like an hour, which is fine. You know, and after an hour, I'm tired. After 2 miles, I'm usually tired. So hopefully I can continue to grow and expand and get better at that, which you do. If you continue to do stuff consistently, you're gonna get better, whether I think I will or not. You know, sometimes I get a little injured. My leg's been hurting, so I have an x-ray coming up at the beginning of September to make sure nothing's broken. Like I said, I've never broken anything, but my leg hurts. I imagine if it's broken, I wouldn't be able to run.
Something or something. Like,
I had a posterior shin splint.
Yeah.
And I took a break for like a month to try to let it heal or whatever. And afterward, it didn't hurt too much. But now, faster running and longer distance running, it's coming back up to say, hey, what's up? Stop. And like David Goggins, I have to say, no, we're going anyway. Get over it. So that's what I'm nerding out about running.
That's amazing.
All right, well, that's the end of our episode here on Nerd Talk. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining us, and don't forget to comment on what are the greatest villains you know about in real life or in fiction. We prefer fiction because, you know, we can know that's not real. Right. And just what you're nerding out about and stuff like that. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. See ya.